Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
John Riggio joining us here again, our architect friend, pro tennis player, and so much more. Happy Columbus Day. Riggio,
Yes.
Italian. Is that Italian last name?
Yes.
Good. Okay, then I could say happy Columbus Day. I don't know if it's a happy day. I just know it's a day off for a lot of people, except us. We're working hard. Please introduce yourself to our listeners.
Yes, hello, my name is John Riggio, and today we're going to talk about my tennis career, about my pro tennis years. And so from the last show, I'm going to continue on with some more stories. I have, just to start off, I brought some interesting things today, and one of them was, to start off, was my ATP cap. And this is the cap that they gave me when I went to Ali Pond and they made that whole tennis center. And I have it here. It's just very simple. And this is the cap here. Very simple cap. They had two at the time. They had one with lines all over it, different color lines. But I sort of like this simple one. This was my favorite. And the tennis the tennis supervisor at the Ali Pond Tennis Center, he went and got those caps for me, which was pretty good. And I think I said before at the time, they gave me this whole my own desk and everything, and oversee the tennis courts, so it was very good. And so from that was good. And then the next thing, today I think I had a number of shows I had said I was gonna show some tennis rackets. Well, today I brought some tennis rackets. I took a few minutes. I got my tennis bag, and I have a few sampling of some current rackets I've been using. I don't have all the rackets. I'll have to do them on more than one show. And but I think today I have a sampling of some rackets that I was explaining on some of the shows, and pretty much was to show, like, for instance, just like some basic Dunlops. Like this is like a basic, like a Dunlop racket. But I think the most thing, if you look at the shape of this racket, you can see the shape. And I think a lot of people are playing with this shape racket these days. Years ago, they used to play with the racket, used to call like a teardrop shape. And the old wood rackets were, most of them were shaped more like an old teardrop type racket. But this type of racket, they usually call precision racket. And I see a lot of the players that like this. This racket is very good. It's really a pro quality racket. This is, the frame is strong where you could string the racket up to 65 pounds, which is pretty good. Most stores wouldn't sell this. I had to order this one. And this is a 98 square inch racket. So this is pretty good. And I think this one is the same racket, just with the black strings. Sometimes you play with black strings. It depends on your opponent and how you're playing. And I think, just as far as the pass goes, I had this racket. I was looking around and I finally found this Babolat racket. This racket, it isn't considered a pro stock, but if you notice, it's shaped very similar to that Dunlop. And when I was younger, I did have some Babolat rackets that were like this. I had one Babolat racket, was really the pro stock version of this kind of shape. Because I think a lot of people got used to seeing a Babolat racket that's called the Aero Pro. I do have one of those. I'll have to bring it another time. But this racket was similar to what I was playing with, but it was the pro stock version of that racket. And it is a very nicely balanced racket. It's a very nicely balanced racket. This one, just compared with the Dunlop, in fact, the frame strength on this is 62. It's more like, it is a good quality racket. You probably could play a pro match with this. There's a chance that the frame could break on this at 62 pounds, as far as the frame strength is concerned. And then this one is another one which is interesting. If you notice, this is all black.
Yeah.
So this racket, you just wonder why the racket is all black. And this is particularly considered one of the kinds of pro stock rackets where it does not have any markings on it, because at certain times with the tournaments, playing pro, the rackets don't really have any advertising on it. For one, you might not be sponsored by that company, but you might be playing with their racket. And that's one way to play with a racket, but you're not sponsored with it. Sometimes tournament rules, they don't want you advertising any names. So those are some of the basic rules. This particular racket is a Kennex Pro, and it's built stiffer than a racket you'd buy at the store. It is slightly stiffer. And that's one racket. So before I go through the strings, let me just show you a couple more rackets. I have a few more here. I have just one interesting racket. I was able to find this. Now I think this racket, if you look at the shape, this is a little bit more like a teardrop type racket. You see the shape of this racket. Let me just zoom out. You see the shape of this racket. I think if you just compare it with let's just compare it with the bobble. I think you just compare the shape of the bobble. It's slightly different if you notice. So this is but this is a nice racket. Years ago, I did have a Sergio Cecchini rackets. I tried all of them. One of the Sergio Cecchini rackets I really did take to it. I used it for a while and I was winning very nicely. The Sergio Cecchini racket I had was, in fact, they were being manufactured by Dunlop. But this racket is very nice. And then just to show some other couple rackets I have just like a very nice Prince racket. In fact, this Prince racket is called the Prince Warrior Pro 100.
Okay.
So this racket is it isn't really that stiffly framed. The frame of the racket, you could string this up to, it usually says it on the inside, you could string this up to 58 pounds. So the Dunlop, in comparison, I showed you could string it to 65. This one you could only string to 58.
Okay.
So that means if you really string the strings to 58, there's a chance you could break the frame. The guy who does the stringing could break the frame if he really tries to string it to the maximum. That's one problem with it. And but as far as this particular racket, this is a very popular racket for pro teachers. Basic tennis teachers at the tennis center. You'll go to your local tennis center, or you play with a player that teaches. This particular racket is very popular. It's a very nice racket. I use this when I teach some tennis too, because it's a little soft in the middle, very nicely balanced, and it's good to play like some matches with this too. You can play some very nice matches with it, but it's really good for teaching. And I think just by saying that see, if the frame goes up to 58, means you probably string it to like mostly like 55 pounds. This is like a 55-pound strings. And just very interesting, I have hybrid strings on this. This is a new string. It has black on the inside and like a white string on the outside, but it's a very long-lasting string. So you don't have to change the strings.
Have you broken any rackets? Have you?
Since I came back to after my pro playing, I haven't really broken any rackets. Good. I mean, I think when you're young and playing, I could hit the racket very fast. I'm playing against people who could also hit the racket ball very quickly to me, and that was making where my rackets can break. But in recent years, I haven't broken any rackets. It's very interesting. And this is another Prince racket. This is a racket you could buy it off the shelf. It's a very nice racket though. This is good. It's a little larger in head size, and this is good for like you're playing doubles. It's a nice learning racket. A lot of times I loan that racket to people when they come and they don't have a tennis racket. And this is another one. This is a good learning racket. If you're learning how to play tennis, you just use this like Prince racket. And this one, you can string this. They're saying at 55, maybe as much as 60. They don't want to give you a definite number. So that means you're probably going to string this racket maybe around 55 pounds.
Got it. Approximately.
And that's a very nice racket too. So those are just some common rackets I've been playing with. And I think just in comparison with the cap, I also have from joining the USTA locally, I have also the basic This is the basic cap, but this one is already worn out, and this is the US cap. That's the basic one. So I think as far as the strings go, which is very interesting, I have some stories about the tennis stringing, and one of them is the tennis stringing. Like if you notice, all these rackets they go up
Yeah.
to 65 pounds maximum. And I think as far as the head size of the rackets, I think most people on average are probably playing with like a 98-inch size rackets. They go anywhere from like maybe 90-inch is the smallest size to 115. Like
Okay.
a lot of times people, I was told that a lot of times a taller player might go with a smaller size head racket. And but I think just over the years, a lot of people they might play with like a maybe a 98-inch size racket overall, maybe slightly smaller, slightly larger. And then the rackets that are like a little larger, maybe like 110, 115. A lot of times people that are older or playing a lot of doubles go with a
Mm-hmm.
larger size head racket. So that's one interesting thing. And then the grips. One is the thing about playing pros and going through learning about all those different things is the grip size is really number three. The grip size number three is really the optimum size grip that they are sort of trying to keep as a standard, is a number three size grip. But you aren't necessarily required to use a size grip, because if your hand's a little small, you might use a number one or number two grip. If your hand's a little larger, you might use a 4 or 5 grip. So, but a number three grip is sort of like the standard. So you would start off with like a 3 grip, and then you start to feel your way of what is really the best for you. So even if your hand size says that you're supposed to use a 2 grip, you could try 3. You
Okay.
might play better with it. Some people might grip the racket a little better with it. And same thing if your hand's a little larger, you might start with 3. That you could same idea that 3 is good. I think the idea is also that each racket is manufactured where the 3 grip is sort of the standard that the racket is designed off of. And then if your grip size is slightly different, you would have to adjust it from there. You would buy the larger grip. The one thing about having the smaller grip is you could always add like over grip over it, things like that. And but one interesting thing that was happening in the years that I was playing, that was coming through over by the tennis center, is that there was some problem that someone was
Mm.
making illegal tennis rackets. Now, the rule between all the different
What?
size rackets is that if you have an officially manufactured tennis racket,
Mm-hmm.
it's okay to play. You
Okay.
could, if it's a same, if it's a manufactured racket, if it's a blocked out version of it, or if it's registered with the pro shop, then it's a legal tennis racket. But if it's illegally manufactured, it's not allowed. And what was happening that they had some rackets that were even strung to 73 pounds.
Okay.
So if you have a tennis racket, I think most pros are playing with a tennis racket that's strung around 60, maybe 62 pounds. You can maybe go a little bit over that. I think maybe 65 pounds. But
Okay.
if you're stringing a racket 73 pounds, it's way uh, isn't allowed. And you could have an advantage having a racket strung at 73 pounds because the racket frame is stiffer and the ball would go faster. And I think what was happening at that time is very interesting. I was able to hit the ball very fast with a basic pro stock racket. This was a racket that was strung by pro shop. It was officially manufactured, just a standard racket. A lot of them, when I was playing, some of them were rackets even you could just buy off the shelves. Like some of those Prince rackets, they used to always give me 2 of those. And I used to play with I used to play a lot of games with those rackets. They used to give me all kinds of different rackets. I used to break all of them, but I used to go through all of them. So I had a good experience with all the different tennis rackets.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem is when I was playing some opponents is I would hit the ball very fast and then they wanted to have my racket checked. Like they were gonna see if I had an illegal racket or if it was, something wrong with the stringing or something.
Wow. Who
And whenever
knew?
they looked at it, I would always explain that my racket is just a standard racket. and it isn't the most stringing was only 62 pounds. And I think what was happening was very interesting is that I think some people were really doing something like I think you would say they were acting like practical jokers, or that they would possess an illegal tennis racket, and then when I hit the ball so fast anyway, they'd want to inspect it as if they're going to find a racket that is not legal and I can't get away with it, you know. So that was really one strange thing that was happening. And I think over the course of the years I was there, I did hear from time to time that their rackets, they did catch them at having illegal tennis rackets. And they sometimes the games would have to have been canceled out because of it, that they lost. Because if they use the illegal tennis rackets and they win the match, they can get caught having illegal equipment. Their rackets would get confiscated, and the game would come out that they really lost the match. And this was happening from time to time. I think they were getting away with it a lot. I was even looking around on the internet, and I saw some people even wrote down that they were using rackets strung at 72 pounds, which is completely illegal. In fact, the national tournament restricts the poundage to 62 pounds. And the ATP playing the pro circuit, you could probably go up to 65 pounds. But I think no one really strings it that high anyway. And so to have a racket at 73 pounds can be a big advantage, but it's completely illegal. And this was going on at the time. And so every once in a while they were catching them. So, and those rackets, from what I was told about at that time, they were selling them for $3,000. These were illegal rackets being sold for $3,000.
Wow.
A new tennis pro stock racket could be very expensive. Could cost $3,000 also. I received these pro stock rackets through my sponsor and pro shop in Hicksville, and they used to give me these, but I knew they were very expensive rackets also. So they were expensive rackets, but this whole thing of some people having these illegal rackets, so they really were having someone manufacture illegal rackets there, and that was a little problem going through. I don't know if the problem still exists today with this kind of racket and strung at 73 pounds, but a lot of people thought it was strange. Let me see what's going on here. Okay, for some reason. Okay,
It's okay. What happened? I'm like, did I do something? I'm like looking. Yeah.
So this was very strange, and I think, and then since I was able to hit the ball very fast, every once in a while they would check my rackets, and they would look at them, and when they realized they had regular pro stock racket, I guess they didn't know what to say about it. They were hoping maybe it was illegal racket that I could hit the ball so fast, but that wasn't the truth, and so that was really very interesting, and so really from that was yeah, so that was a very interesting thing with those rackets, and that was sort of a controversy. I really when I was playing the matches, I didn't think about it too much that my opponent might have a 73-pound racket.
Yeah.
And it was a problem, and but that was very interesting. And I think like those rackets I just showed now, the examples, you see, none of them are going anywhere near 73 pounds, and no one would really string them up to that kind of weight anyway. It's was very interesting. I think just looking at some of these old rackets was also the string types. Babolat made a very nice high quality racket string. They make the black string, and that was something people were using, and they have different varieties of the strings. They still have new kinds of strings coming out, like the hybrid string, which is really like a black string on the inside and a white string on the outside. And those are very good. Those are a new hybrid variety of strings. I've been getting into using them. They're pretty good. If you use what's called, they used to have different kind of strings called natural gut. This is a certain material. And then from natural gut, they made it something called synthetic. They made it out of like a plastic material. And the synthetic gut lasts a little longer. But I think that kind of variety of a synthetic gut, even they wear very quickly. And then you have to go get your racket strung over again. the hybrid strings are much more long lasting. I think playing with the group here, a lot of people catching on to the hybrid strings. They like them, and you don't have to string them as nearly as much. The other strings they wear out very quickly and can break. I think when I was younger, of course, I was hitting the ball very fast. The strings might not last even one game. And I think from playing, that is really how I started to really learn about the better quality strings, the thicker strings, and that was coming through the pro shop, and that's how that started to develop, where I had better quality strings, so the strings wouldn't break. And then if the strings don't break, hitting the ball going back and forth over the court, of course, is possibility that the rackets could break. At that time, I used to always break all my rackets, which was very interesting. And so that is what was happening. So I think so that was good. And I think so that was very good. And then I think really to get on to the next item that I was going to talk about. Well, I think instead of getting onto the next item, you know what? I have a video of Tony Roach's video, and it's very good. I have it here on my Facebook page.
All right. Yeah,
And
we have 3 minutes before we got to take a break. So can we do the
okay,
3 minutes, or do you want to take the break now?
let me
So
just. Oh, okay. Okay, let's see if for 3 minutes I think I could play this little clip. Let me
awesome.
take a quick look at it over here. Okay, yes, I have it here. Okay, yes, let me just put it up on the screen and let me share it. Let's just share this in 2 seconds. Okay, great.
Perfect.
Okay, so this is on the volley here. This is Mon playing. Okay, he's showing the volley, showing the serve.
Okay.
I think there's some volume involved with this, but I don't think it's really coming through.
So you'll have to narrate. Go ahead.
Oh, okay, so then he's showing the that there. So let me see the next video I have here. Okay, let me just get it over here.
Sure.
Okay, good. Okay, good. So this one is good. Let me just get this. Let me share this. And this is from the same one here. And I think one thing about this, can you see this on the screen?
No, I don't say anything now.
Let me share it. Okay, now you see it?
Yep.
Okay, great. So I think from this is the one where I am seen here in the back of the video.
Oh, cool.
And okay, so you see this person to the right side? That's me over here. So that's me
So
when I'm younger.
cool.
And I think you see that I have my sweatsuit on and I'm really zippered up. That's because that I was playing every day at the tennis center, playing there,
Wait,
and
here you
I
come.
had to keep my whole body warm. I didn't want to risk getting any sore muscles. And there I'm carrying 2 racket bags, and those were a gift
So
that
cool.
came through. And that's me there in that picture. Let's see if I come up again on this. No, okay, so that's on the still image. I'm on the right side over here.
Awesome.
And that is
And what year is this?
that is in 1987.
Okay, cool.
So then let me see if I could okay, there I am there. So this
Yep.
is myself here. I have some new sweats on there. And
I love it.
so that's my shown there in the picture. So that was pretty good.
Amazing. I love you
Okay,
got
so
this
let me stop
video.
the share on this. Okay, good.
All right, well, let's take our quick break. John, remind us of the website, how we can reach you.
Yes, you can go to John Riggio Pro Tennis Player on Facebook, and from there, there's links to my list of playing and this history, and it's very interesting. I'd like you to go and take a look at it.
Perfect. We'll be right back.
Hello, my name is John Riggio. I'm the CEO of John Riggio RA Architect LLC. I provide architect services in the New York City metropolitan area. That includes New York City, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania. My areas are specifically Long Island, the 5 boroughs of New York City, Westchester, Yonkers. In New Jersey, it is North Jersey, Central Jersey, and South Jersey. In Philadelphia, the areas are the Philadelphia metropolitan area. You can find out more information about my company at www.johnriggio.com. That's spelled JOHNRIGGIO.com. And there you will find out a description of my work. It shows a portfolio, pictures of the different job types. And I also have my contact information there. It shows my business address. From there, you can contact me and we can discuss your project. First, we will make an initial consultation. And then from there, we will then go over designing your project and then constructing your project. So I hope to hear from you soon. Thank you. Bye.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
In stereo. All right. John Riggio joining us here again, our pro tennis player and friend. And we just got to see him in some video footage from 1987. How did you even find that, by the way?
Okay, so I was watching Tony Roger's video and I was watching, and then I watched it a couple times and I'm looking, I said, hey, that's me in there.
That's so cool, right?
I think there's probably a lot of different pictures of me over the years in different sport photographs, films, things like that. They were always taking all kinds of pictures. And so I think really just to start off this piece is there was one person that I didn't really talk about yet, and he was Mr. Tony Slonik. And he was an important part of my tennis because when I was at Alley Pound, Tony Slonik was my official coach, and he was also the official facility manager of the whole building there at not at Alley Pond, at Sutton East, And so I have a picture of him here. Let me just show a picture of him here because I was just reading about him recently. And okay, can you see his picture here?
There you go. Yeah.
Okay, so this is his picture here, and he's usually was running all the public work, but he was also involved with my tennis career too, and so is highly experienced. He has a lot of education in athletics, and he is really the whole official manager there at that Sutton East and the whole tennis bubble, the whole block of that tennis bubble that was there. So that's him here. And I think at that time I had the Schlesinger rackets. Now they gave me two of these Schlesinger rackets, but I bent both of them. So I was using just the Pro Stocks that I usually have. So I use those rackets, but the Schlesinger rackets, that is the year that they gave me. They look just like that. This is really the same year tennis racket. And okay, that's the depiction of there. This is just some pictures that I have that are on my site there. Okay. This is from my tennis meetup. Just some pictures of the tennis meetup. of playing over the last number of years. Oh, that's myself there. So that's myself holding the racket there, holding with two hands, and someone serving there. And we're playing in the park. It looks like the lights are starting to turn on. It's getting dark outside. This is usually my Friday night tennis, and this is everyone playing here. This is now we're switching to the other side. Someone's serving the ball there, and so that's just basic. And this is at the Roosevelt Park in Edison. This is our other location here, and that is myself playing there. This is just some pictures of it. And this is over at the other Thomas Edison Park. This is our other location. I play there. Everyone come down. And then this is one of the other locations, one of the other locations. Oh, this is also at Sun East. This is the same type of car that they rented for me. They gave me a 6-month lease on this, and they kept it in front of the Sun East. So that was parked in front of there also. And this was the previous year was the that time of the U.S. Open that I played in the U.S. Open in '87. That's a Sports Illustrated pin. And then this, just while we're on to some rackets, this is one of the old rackets. I'll have to do another show, but this is showing one of the old rackets, the wood rackets. And they used to put a brace on the racket.
I was gonna say, wow, yeah, it's like a.
And then this is just a regular Prince racket. Okay, this is from the meetup. This here is my Wednesday morning teaching, and I'm taking pictures. I have 1, 2, 3 singles matches going on here, and I'm just helping them learn how to play tennis. So that's what's happening here.
Cool.
So it's really 1, 2, 3 there. Okay, good. This is the tennis bubble at Sun East a little better. You can see the bubble is under the bridge, and it's been like that for a while. And this is this side. Let me see if I can show you the side where we have. Okay, so this is the side walking up the hill. Right at the end of this block is where the grandstand was located. And I have to see if I could find any photographs of it, but this is where the grandstand was located. And then this just shows the name Sun East. And this is the inside. Now the inside, they changed it a little, but we're looking through the plain glass that they had constructed for me years ago. It's still there. This is back in 1987. They constructed this whole plate glass entrance. I had my own restroom there for myself and my own entrance into the courts. And then the right side, as if you walk in, it is the manager where my sponsors were there, the supervisor for my tennis bubble, and then through there was a door, and that went into the public area where they still had a lot of tennis from the public area of the bubble. So I think this bubble comprises, I think there's a total of maybe 5 areas in there. It's a very large structure. In fact, they raised up the whole tennis bubble 5 feet when I was there because of when playing the pro tennis and the ball gets popped up in the air, it really had to go up another 5 feet. So this whole bubble had to get raised up 5 feet. And then these are just some more pictures. Okay, raising your tennis balls. Okay, and then we're back to there. Okay, so let me stop the sharing on this. Okay, good. Okay, I see your video is turned off for a minute. Jill, your video is shut off.
I'm trying to connect it. It's not working. Keeps sticking on and off today.
Would you like me to continue anyway?
Yeah, please. I apologize. I thank you. It's happened 4 times already today. Thank you.
Okay, I see you there. Okay, so I see from the last time I was talking about some very interesting stories probably people didn't know about, but really just to visualize the whole situation was the trainer, Bob, that ran the whole sign up for the Olympics that year. And that was the Olympics where the tennis was going back into the Olympics, but it was amateur players who were required. But this trainer. He was really like the one of the number one Olympic trainers. He was the one writing everyone's name down for the Olympics that year, but he was also assigned to watch and judge all of my national tournament matches. So that's really where you get an idea of where my playing was. I had the number one trainer with the national tournament. He's signing up all the players for the Olympics. He's judging all my matches. Um, and that's what was happening. But I think one thing about tennis sometimes, like they have like practical jokes, like you have tennis whoopee cushion, things like that, is that like I think with he was doing an excellent job with the national tournament, but I think on some things he didn't think that maybe some things was really serious. So what he was doing, he was writing down my name as John Beast. Because since I was sponsored by Prince, they were all calling me the Beast or the Beast Man. And so instead of writing my name down, he just wrote the name John Beast. It really, and that name was not going to get approved by the ATP. And I know the reason why. It's because the Prince representative had specifically told me that the name Beast is copyrighted by Prince Racket Company. I'm not allowed to use it. But I think at that time the trainer, he wrote it down anyway. He didn't care if it was allowed or not. And that year in the national tournament, I did have the most points in the United States, and so that was one interesting thing. And so I think one interesting thing about the tennis story was also I just wanted to clarify that uh, the matches that they had me miss a few tournaments, that was really because of my sponsors, who were really like a sport organization. They were trying to make a plea deal to keep one or more of their players from going to jail. And that's really clarifying what was happening. I think the whole thing with the plea, from what I was told from different players, it didn't really help them that much. I think they were maybe had to deal with, they were let out 3 months and then they had to stay at home for 3 months. So it helped a little bit, but that is really the situation that was going on at that time. And I think the thing with the practical jokers and everything, I think something at that time, for some reason with the Olympics, I don't know, maybe it was going wild, that I was even told that they did a practical joke, but they really didn't give their medals back. They
What?
gave another set of medals back.
Oh my
So I
gosh.
don't know. I don't know what was going on here. It was very strange. But that's why I was happy I stayed out of that whole thing. I think when I was younger, I was involved with the Olympic Star Program in gymnastics. In fact, at the time, I was already a sponsor for tennis, but this whole school thing that they asked if anyone wants to join, I volunteered, and I learned this gymnastics, and it started to go so crazy that they wanted me to go to California and start doing the gymnastics with the people they have in California. It might even involve entertainment. And so I already got the idea of the Olympics. So when it came to this time and they told me that it's just for amateur tennis players, I didn't want to lie. And I think keeping out of that whole thing was good. I really, from that, also from the previous experience with the Olympic gymnastics and the Olympic Star Program, I did not want to lie at all about anything. And I think so the whole thing uh, turning out to be like a little practical joke, or they were going to get away with it, was really culminated into a really big problem. And that's why I was saying even overseas they still remember that they said America cheated in the Olympics. So that was really a sad thing that happened. And then one interesting news story I haven't talked about, but over the years when I was playing, I some players, they used to do something like you would say doping, or they would take some drugs. And this was really to, of course, was to win the match.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this thing of them doing that very possibly could be successful, similar to the having a racket strung at 73 pounds or having illegal manufactured rackets, it's the same idea. If they got away with it, it very possibly could result in them winning another game and could help them. And when I was playing, unfortunately, after I played some matches, I was told that my opponent, they had to test them for drugs, and the authorities did have to do something to them. And the game was canceled or go down that they lost. And this happened over the years. And I think sometimes that type of situation was visible too. A lot of times the opponent was getting used to something, getting away with doing that. In fact, I never complained about any of it, but I noticed there was always someone that was really observing the player. And when this situation was taking place, they did do something about it. And this was very interesting. Usually something happened after the match was over. I wasn't there. And they would usually do something to the opponent, test them, and they did get in trouble in this. So they weren't getting away with it. But I think it's similar to the illegal equipment with the tennis rackets. They maybe they were getting away with it a lot of times, and they were just going to keep doing the same thing, and it was helping them probably win some more matches. Which I think, as far as like playing sports, I don't think that's really very good. I don't think it's very good. I think that even when I was playing, a lot of times they used to look and notice. They said, didn't you even bring a bottle of water to drink? I mean, what, because I think if I brought a bottle of water, maybe they'd start, they want to check the bottle of water. But a lot of times when I was young, I was in excellent shape. I didn't even bring a bottle of water to play tennis. I would go there and I didn't bring a bottle of water. It was really unbelievable. So it was amazing. And so yeah, so I think at that age I did have that ability to play. I was always very competitive. I remember even one time I went to one of my tournament matches, and on the way there, I rode my bicycle to the matches. So I was still young, riding my bicycle to the matches, and I hit a pothole and I fell off, and my arm was bleeding, my leg was bleeding, and I went to the match. And I played the match and I won the match. But through the match, I noticed my opponent noticed your arm is bleeding. There's blood coming down your arm. So it's really interesting. So that's really what was happening at that time. And so the thing um the drugs at that time was really, I didn't have to complain about it, but someone was looking at it. It was being looked at. And that was really very interesting. And so that was pretty good. And so I think that was really a very interesting story that was happening with the problems there. And I think there's other news stories. I mean, I remember one news story, I think since we were talking about some sun news today, there is another news story that was very interesting. And I think this isn't really practical joker, but this is like another story where someone might have, maybe he had like a bad attitude or something, but a representative was supposed to hand out the equipment for one of the brand name rackets. They gave him tennis rackets, tennis bags, sweats, all kinds of things like shirts and pants that you're supposed to wear and advertise their brand. And what he was doing is whenever they gave him a supply of equipment, he started to go to the local sport shops in New York City, and he was selling it to them, and they would resell it to just an ordinary consumer would walk off the street, buy things, and he was selling it to them. And then if this happened finally with myself and the sponsor, they did not go over very good. And what happened was this guy, he had to get arrested, and he had to pay all the money to the brand company. And so he got in big trouble, and he did lose his job working for them. And but it was unbelievable what was going on. And I think I even talked to him previous to that. He was saying he didn't want to hand out the equipment because they weren't giving him enough money per hour. He needed this money to pay the rent.
Wow.
So it was amazing how this whole story started to happen. And so it was very strange. I think as far as the equipment and clothes from that sponsor, I did receive um, those things directly from my sponsor instead, but I was supposed to receive them for free. And I'm not the only player. This was a few top players. I mean, these are really the only people sponsored by these companies are really the best tennis players in the U.S. And so for that to happen was really sad. And I think we sort of maybe we missed out enough. Missed out on a few supplies. I think almost all my other supplies they didn't have that problem, but this one incident was very strange, and this another thing that was happening. So I think so I was shorter, or other players were shorter, they would probably um, think like something is going wrong here, and it turns out there really was something that was really not allowed. It wasn't up to his opinion to give out, to steal the items and sell them to sports stores, and wasn't allowed at all. And it really ended up where they had to stop him altogether. It was really unbelievable. I mean, that is amazing. So he wasn't really like a happy worker that was going to go around and give everyone supplies. He was really someone doing outrageous things for some reason. And I don't know what possessed him to think like that, really. I don't think it's really under like practical joking or anything. I don't know what it was. I don't know if he even liked anything to do with tennis. I don't know if he cared about tennis at all.
Hmm.
Somehow he got involved with getting this type of job, and he completely caused a big problem. And it wasn't just for me, too. That's what I was saying. The other top players were really supposed to receive these items. I don't know if even their local sponsors made it up to them. I was lucky they gave me the supplies I was supposed to receive. They did give me like the same type of item to use, and that was very interesting. And I think with this brand, I did receive also a whole photographic. Uh, they made a whole photo shoot of me. I put on their advertising clothes, their sweats. They put all kinds of advertisements on the tennis court, on the nets and
Wow.
everything. And they had a professional sport photographer taking pictures of me. And that's what happened. So I think as far as sport photographers, one interesting thing was um, I always liked this thing with the sport photographers, the paparazzi pictures. And I know from over the years, I think a lot of other players, I was surprised they really don't like the photographs. For some reason, I think in Ali Pond in
Really?
particular, I was in control of whatever happens there. So they asked me, do you want the photographers or you don't want the photographers? I said, yes, keep the photographers. Let them come in to the Ali Pond, let them take pictures of myself playing tennis, the other players. I said they can come in and take pictures. I thought it was really good. So they
Great
were
to have
doing that.
those memories.
But
My
I think
goodness.
some of the other players, they do not like photographs. I don't know why. I couldn't figure to get a photographer to do some free photographs of you like that, put it in
Yeah.
magazines. That's a big bonus. I mean, that is really good. To not want that, I do couldn't understand why. I don't understand why they wouldn't want pictures taken.
And maybe
Maybe
it distracted them. I mean, you're right. I would think it's only positive to have that for, yeah, for some
yes,
promotion for
I
future.
couldn't
Yeah.
understand what the psychology was about that. I didn't understand. I don't know if there was some meaning behind not wanting the photographs, but I think most people to get any photographs and put it, they start to pay a lot of money. If you went about it another way, say I want some pictures taken and I want to put it into
Yeah.
like a tabloid, it's gonna cost a lot of money. I hear numbers $40,000, something like that. I mean, it was going to cost a good amount of money to do that. So for them to come over regularly and take pictures of me playing tennis and in there, I have my ATP tennis cap on and and everything. And I think that was really good. And
I agree.
some of these tennis photographers, a lot of people have heard of. I think one tennis photographer that was commonly taking pictures of me, and a lot of the players there was one of the photographers. He was working for Sports Illustrated, and I think I have his name over here someplace. I'll see if I can find it. But he was one photographer, and he used to take a lot of pictures. I have a number of photo shoots and all kinds of photographers. I think I have his name listed on my webpage in the list of photo shoots. So that was on there, and he was taking a lot of pictures of myself and other pro players at the time, and that's what was happening.
Well,
So I
let
think
me
I think
ask
that
you,
was very interesting.
nowadays, I wonder if there are, I don't know, anyone that wouldn't want pictures taken of them, but I guess to each his own. What have you noticed? I mean, what is the tennis world like now compared, to when you were in it to win it? What are some of the differences that you see? And are you glad you played then, or as a pro, or do you wish you were still, in it now? I mean, you still are, but in the competitive nature of it.
I think a lot of things haven't changed. I think the 1980s was really a point where things were changing in a lot of ways. I think the only thing that came about after my playing was really the change in clothing, them allowing people to wear whatever they wanted. But I think a lot of things, the style of playing, a lot of things with television, ESPN, and things like that, I was able to get in on those things playing. So I think that was pretty good. And I think the tennis I think you see today isn't that different, I noticed. I think it is very similar to when I was playing when I was younger. I think it isn't that different. There aren't that many differences in what's going on with the tennis. It looks somewhat similar. And so I think so I was in on sort of like the newer ways of doing things. I think only the clothing was a little stricter in the years that I played. It was things started to open up with the change in the clothing, but all the rackets, the style of playing are very similar. A lot of people there was this 80s style of
Yeah.
playing that started, and I was watching television and new players, and I see they're still playing very similar to 80s style tennis. It hasn't changed, and so it looks very similar to when I was playing years ago.
Amazing. All right. We still got 3 minutes left in the show. What else did you want to share with us?
Oh, well, I think a lot of what I talked about, yeah, I'll have to bring in some more rackets. I have a whole series of old rackets I'll show, and I'll talk about what was going on with them. I was able to locate some rackets they used to give me, some Prince rackets that I used to play with that you can't find on the shelves, and I could show some of those too. I mean, that's really good. And I think so I think as far as the basic information, you can go onto my Facebook page, and then there's more in-depth things on the tennis web page I made. And but if you want to get all the different inside stories, you'd have to watch the videos. So I have a lot of videos on there talking about tennis, and that's where you get the whole inside story. And that is pretty good, and you could really learn from those things.
Got it. Well,
I think
also,
a lot of the information I'm giving you is really you'd have to really play become a top pro player in the USA to really get that kind of information. I think I'm passing a lot on like an instruction video, but most people do not know anything about that until they really advance in tennis.
oh
I
my
think
God.
if you watch some pro tennis instructions are really from people who are top pros. I think some videos might just be for if you're just learning, you just either you're just learning tennis as someone older or when you're younger, just learning. But I think what I'm talking about is a lot of things were really just as a top pro, you would get that kind of information. So it's very valuable if anyone's interested in tennis is to watch the videos and take a look at my webpage.
Got it. And the webpage once again is,
You just go to Facebook at John Riggio, pro tennis player. And there I have a link to my webpage. It lists all the different things about my tennis matches and things like that.
well, thank you so much. Pleasure talking to you, seeing, and what's next on you? When are you practicing next?
Oh yeah, I'll get to think of some nice things to talk about, and I think I'll
Oh
get
no,
to think of
I
my
said, when are you
record.
practicing next? Don't you have your mornings? When do you do
Yes,
your
it's
tennis?
it's still 3 days a week: Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday.
Awesome. Good for you. Well, God bless. Thank you so much for being here again on this Columbus Day. We appreciate you and love hearing your stories. And wow, what a
You're
rich
welcome. It was good talking
history.
to you.
And he's an architect too, guys. I mean, there's so much to him. Next time we'll talk again. Pleasure having you again. John Riggio, Riggio is the last name. Have a great day, everyone, and we'll talk soon, John.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.